In today's video, how shredded can you get naturally? Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, we're going to discuss just how lean and how shredded you can get as a natural athlete. And today's video comes from my Instagram direct message. So thank you guys for continuing to send these questions. Even with all this stuff going on, it feels good to have some kind of a sense of a normal routine. You seem to be enjoying the videos, and today's video discussion is something that it's very near and dear to my heart. And if you enjoy this type of content about getting shredded, putting on muscle, looking amazing, learning the science and the evidence-based approach to all of this, well, hit the subscribe button. That's what I love to do here. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to read today's question and then we'll discuss it. Most of the people want to get leaner or build more muscle or even both. I'm one of those people that want to get that shredded look while being natty. I used to have a really lean physique, but my point is, how lean can you really get without PEDs? Now today's video is special to me. Why? Because, well, in 2009, it was my goal to become a pro natural bodybuilder, and I reached that goal by winning the NGA universe here in Florida. And earning pro status as a natural bodybuilder was something that I had been looking forward to doing since I found out about competing as a bodybuilder. Let's first discuss what it means to be a natural bodybuilder. In my mind, and there's probably many different opinions on this subject, but to me, you're natural if you choose not to do, obviously like steroids and exogenous hormones, growth hormone, those kind of things, but also things like SARMs. I've also never taken any of the gray market supplements, the pro hormone, stuff like that. I've always just felt that it was best for me to just do things with some over-the-counter supplements and the food and a proper training program. Now, that being said, do I have a problem with bodybuilding when it's not natural? Hell no. Like, those are some of the guys that inspired me early on. Obviously, people like Arnold, who's openly discussed his drug use, but even the bodybuilders that I grew up really enjoying watching, people like Lee Haney into the Dorian Yates years, Ronnie Coleman. Jay Cutler was the first pro bodybuilder I ever met in person, and a nicer man you will not meet. So I love the sport for what it is, no matter where it's coming from. But the idea of getting shredded first came to my attention when I started looking into competing in bodybuilding, and the name of the guy that was the synonymous with being the most shredded as a natural bodybuilder is Brian Whitaker. And over the years, I've since become friends with Brian, and he was my inspiration. I literally had him on my computer screen during contest prep, just looking at how lean he got, how much muscle he kept, how great he looked on stage, to the point where a few years ago I was able to be backstage with Brian. I got to meet up with him before the show. I'll put some footage here from that show where I actually got to see him. And now, if you're looking at Brian Whitaker and you're thinking, wow, that is not natural, this guy is not a natural competitor, I get it. It doesn't make sense to see that much muscle, that shredded. But just know that Brian's about 5'9", 5'8", and around 161, 3 pounds, somewhere in there, depending on what day it is. So you can see that while he has amazing shape and structure, he's not someone that carries a ton of lean body mass. In fact, if you saw Brian in some clothing, you would just think he was a guy who was in shape. He's not going to blow you out of the water when he's wearing some clothing. And then some of the other, top natural bodybuilders that I've had the pleasure of being around, like Doug Miller, he competes a little heavier, probably close to 190, but you're still not going to see the naturals get into that 250, 260 range that you'll see from some of the top IFBB Pro and NPC national bodybuilders. That's really the big difference. Getting shredded is not something that requires performance-enhancing drugs, okay? The real value from my perspective with performance-enhancing drugs is that there has been quite a few case studies of natural bodybuilders. And what we see throughout the process of losing body fat and getting lean and getting shredded, getting under 5% body fat, is that the hormones that support our sex hormones really start to get diminished, okay? Things like testosterone really become an issue. So if you're dieting down and you're supplementing with some exogenous hormones that our body is simply not producing as much of anymore, well, there's going to be an advantage there. You're going to be able to probably maintain, or even in some cases put on muscle if you're just starting some kind of a drug cycle during this period. So really, in my mind, that's where the two camps differ. Now, if you look at the sport, if you look at the top of the IFBB and the NPC, and you look at the top of the pro natural bodybuilding world, you'll see that there's quite a difference. But if you took away all of the drugs or put everybody on drugs, the best would still be the best. You're taking people that have extreme genetics, extreme work ethic, extreme dedication to a sport for, decades, and then you're just comparing them evenly. You're going to see that the best is still the best amongst both. Now, I've been to the Mr. Olympia, the Arnold, many IFBB pro bodybuilding shows and NPC national shows. I think I've been to every national show over the last couple of years. And I've also been to a lot of the world championships of natural bodybuilding. I've coached. Maybe I'll put I've had a client win a world title. So I'll put some maybe videos in here so you can just see that in person. But the point is, I've seen it up close and in person. And as a whole, I think natural bodybuilders tend to get a little bit leaner and they look a little bit more gnarly on stage. The difference is they just don't carry the mass that you get on the pro stage at the IFBB level. And perhaps part of that's the reason that, they don't diet as long, they don't have to get as lean because they're carrying so much more muscle. Let's talk a little bit about how you can get shredded. Really getting shredded as a natural, it just comes down to your ability to endure, because you're going to suffer psychologically. The real difficulty, because I've done this, earning my natural pro card in 2009, competing as a natural pro in 2012, and even in 2018, I competed in 2 shows. I did an NPC show where I won the classic physique overall and the men's physique masters overall. So a natural competitor can compete and do well in a show that is not drug tested. I also went to the world championships in men's physique and placed second. So I've had some success as a competitor. And really it comes down to dieting longer than most people are willing to diet. It's a real psychological battle to see the numbers on the scale decline, to see the clothes that used to be filled out kind of hanging on you. People that don't really know you that well or don't see you without your clothes on are going to think like, man, are you still working out? You might even get some negative comments. And that's really, in my mind, why most people are unable to diet down to get shredded, because, and honestly, you just don't look good anymore with clothes on. You look amazing in a photo shoot with the right lighting and a pump, but natural bodybuilders in their leanest state just don't really carry enough mass to look aesthetically pleasing in clothing. And so I think that's really where most people that are not getting on a bodybuilding stage kind of decide that, this is it. I've had enough. Whereas if you're on some performance enhancing drugs, you're able to maintain lean body mass. You're able to fill out your shirts as you're dieting down and getting leaner because you're keeping or even building muscle during those phases. So is there a difference in people's ability to get shredded? No. I think natural bodybuilders just accept the fact that, listen, we're going to have to suffer, we're going to have to endure, and they get through that stage and they get so darn shredded, okay? And then, so the top pros in the IFBB do the same thing. They get shredded, but I don't see the conditioning matching on the whole. Actually, sometimes now I feel like the conditioning of the men's physique and the classic physique competitors is actually better than the top pro bodybuilding ranks. That's just my opinion. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys are having an awesome Friday. Thank you guys for the great questions. Thank you for being a part of this community. Comment below, subscribe, and let's just keep this thing going into the weekend. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.